Hi people, welcome to Chess 24/7. And I tried streaming yesterday, but the internet was not stable, so I was not able to stream properly. So I've decided that until I don't get a stable internet, I'm going to simply record the videos and maybe stream later. Anyway, so with that said, let's play a 10-0. I'll go for e4, knight f3, bishop c5. Let's just castle. Knight g4 could be played here. Let me just try to get rid of but then my knight is, I was planning to play knight a5, but then my pawn on e4 is weak. Push, pawn takes, push, takes, knight takes. Maybe he castles now. I think d3 would have been a better move, but then bishop g4, h3, bishop h5, and my knight is still pinned. The threat of knight d4 is still there. Okay, so black has castled here. I'll just play h3 here to prevent bishop g4. h6, I bring knight back to f3. Knight a5 can be an option from black. Yep. Now I just drop back to b3 and take with the a pawn. So I don't have the bishop pair advantage anymore, but I'll try to make sure that my opponent's white bishop doesn't do a lot of damage to me. I think it's going to be a little difficult for me to make any sort of advancement here because the position is quite lost, and I'm someone who likes to play in open position. Probably bring my rook to d1, push for d4, break. Rook e8 can be played. So there can be some sacrifices on h3 maybe. Anyway, let me just develop. And if there are any sacrifices on h3, let me be ready for that. Okay. So let me just now attack the pawn on b6, which is right now weak, and so is b7 right now, but b5 solves the problem at the moment. I can still go for d4 here. Because otherwise I'm threatening d5 and trapping that bishop, so the pawn has to be captured on d4. Okay, so we have a sacrifice. Let me happily accept that, because I really don't know how he's going to create any attack there. Knight g4. I don't see anything because my knight on f3 is protecting h2 at the moment. Yeah. And now what? If d takes e5, I'll play queen g3, exchange the queens. But f5 could also be an option. If f5, still I'll exchange the queens here. We do have f5. I feel like taking on d6, because if f takes, if he goes for f4, queen h4, yeah. And if takes on e4, knight takes on e4. Or let me see. I have to protect my knight on f3, otherwise rook takes knight on f3, followed by queen h2. F g5. Then I can go for knight g6, queen takes g6, queen takes g4. Could be a follow-up. Although the position is a little tricky to calculate, let's just go there. But what about rook f3 now? Then I'll go back to queen g2. And my d6 pawn is under attack, but so is his e4 pawn. And I'm threatening queen d5 check, exchanging the queens. If rook f4, queen d5, or maybe queen g2. Let me just go back. Or let me see. Yeah, I can't play queen d5 because queen takes d5, knight takes d5, and then rook takes c2. If rook c f8, then I can go for knight d5, attacking the rook on f4. So lately I've been reading a couple of books on openings, and I might try a few of those openings in my next game. So we have Queen F8. Now I still feel like playing Knight D5 because I still want to bring my knight into the action. And maybe play. Okay. Uh, I have an idea here. Let me play my f rook to e1. If rook takes c2, rook e8, queen takes, and then knight f6 check, winning the queen. Let's see if my opponent falls for that. Yeah, he did. Okay, let's play another 10-0. So that's bishop opening. We can have knight f3 followed by knight. Okay. Should I go for d5? Yeah. At least I'll get the bishop, if allowed, obviously. With pressure on g2 if queen takes. Yeah, okay, got it. If knight c3. Hmm. Hmm. I feel like playing g6, but I also have bishop e6, knight b5, queen d7. What about g6? But that would kind of force me to finger to my bishop. Uh, yeah, I'll still play bishop e6. If knight b5, queen d7. Okay, maybe my opening was not that great in this particular game. Hmm. Knight e2. Feel like playing g6, but then my f6 will be weakened. What about f5 followed by f I can go for f5, which is not possible at the moment because my f7 pawn is pinned. Let me just hit the queen now, and I have to play a little fast. Okay, maybe I have ample of time. And now I can go for h6. If bishop f6, I can probably play rook g1. My goodness, I'm losing my queen here. I can take here. Rook, queen takes rook, and then I'll get two pieces for but still I think that's a good game. I have to resign. Good game. My opening didn't go that well, so let's see what's the right move here. Knight c6, bishop b5, queen d6. I don't see anything wrong here because it has been played in a couple of other games. Knight ge2 is what is played, but let's see what I should have played. Yeah, I did play. Oh, okay, so it says flip h6 here, but what about bishop h5 then? Okay, maybe my opening wasn't that great. Let's play another 10-0. I hope I get white this time. Yeah, let's go for the opening that okay, so we have knight f3. Let's just go for that. Yeah. Okay, so this is some sort of hedgehog kind of a system against the opening. I can also play bishop b3 now. My bad, b3 and bishop b2. b3, d4. Maybe let me just play e4 first. Let me see if he pushes for d4. Pawn takes, knight takes. Yeah, but I can push for e5 now, and the attack is going to be on the king side, followed by c3, threatening d4. Cool. Now I do have the square available for my knight, but my pawn is right now under attack. So you know what, let me just close the center here, because now I'm going to attack on the king side. But although we do have bishop b4 and knight b4, if knight b4, queen e2, not exactly, queen e2, maybe I'll just play knight b3, or maybe knight f1 could be an option. Yeah, knight f1, followed by h4, and getting my knight to h2, my f knight to h2. If knight c6, I might even go for a3 to prevent bishop b4 followed by b4. Could be an option. I think I might play if this knight ever moves. a3 might come into picture because bishop b4, I don't want to give away my dark bishop so easily, because the idea is to create some weaknesses on my opponent's king, and if he ever plays g6 or creates some dark square weaknesses, I want my knight to be there. Okay, so let's just go for h4. Okay, let me just put my laptop on charging. If a3, yeah, there we go. Now he's reacting to our moves, which is okay. Maybe bishop e7 could be a good idea. To prevent g5 right away. I'm going to continue with the attack with the pawn march. Now bishop e7 does not work because I've already played g4 and I'm going to play g5 anyhow. And since the center is locked, there is no room for any action on the center. There can be some play for black on the queen side, but let's see who achieves his objectives first. Because I can play g5, which can be a provocative move. I can also play h5 and then g4. Because if right away I play my bad, h5 and then g5. Because if right away I play g5, you can play h5, right? Yeah, I think h5 followed by g5, because now the idea is to play knight g3, attack h5, provoke some other weaknesses. I think I can even play bishop f4 here. Okay, so I have a weakness on g6, on f6 and h6, but I don't see any direct way of getting there. Although I can reroute, I can play a3 now, provoke him to play knight c6, then play knight e4 followed by f6. I think I'm playing a little fast. I think it's better if I give myself some room to think. But if let's say bishop takes f3, bishop takes f3, and if I somehow manages to play a3, knight has to go back to a6. But then I think my bishop will be doing a good job. It will be cutting the board in half. So my next move is somehow to play a3, but he doesn't necessarily have to play knight c6. He can play knight a6 right away. In fact, I'm not even interested in the pawn on d4, because in fact even if I capture on d4, somehow the knight on d4 will be under attack. It will be under an x-ray from the queen on d8. So knight takes d4, knight takes e5, knight takes, hey, that could be an option. Knight takes d4, but if the bishops are traded, anyhow I still go for that. Knight takes e5, knight takes e6. Yeah, that could be a way, but then it will also open the f file, which might give my opponent some chances along that. So my plan is right now to play a3 and bishop f4 if allowed. Let's see what do we get, but I think my opponent is too low on time. I think or maybe he has found a way to attack my okay, c5. I'll still somehow play a3. I just don't know the a3 is the right move here, but if knight c6, then okay, there we go. Then bishop f4 here, followed by knight f6, knight e4, and then knight f6 is coming, or maybe knight f6. If my knight is captured, which will be, I can go there, takes. Let me just go for this way, and I'll capture with my g pawn. And now the bishop on e7 is lost. If queen takes, I mean, the queen cannot take the pawn on f6 because the knight on c7 is hanging. Hey, I have an idea. Bishop takes c5, pawn, bishop takes h5, pawn takes h5, queen takes h5. Because then I'll be threatening mate on g7 with queen h6. I think it's worth taking the risk, uh, because if e5, then it bishop g4, hitting the queen first, and then taking the pawn on e5, because I still want to retain some control here. Yeah, and maybe then I'll take the pawn with my bishop. So my opponent is down to a minute. I think I'm pretty happy with this game, although I'm sure there would have been some inaccuracies from my side as well. Okay, so now the idea to play c3 was provoke d4, because I was threatening to play d4 anyhow, and the idea to play c4 was to close the center. And yeah, I mean, knight f1 might look a little awkward at the moment, but the idea is to play h4, or maybe even g4 at times, to place the knight on the king side to attack, to create some attack on black's king side. I think after a point of time he was just reacting to my moves, and he was not really making any good moves to achieve his plan on the queen side. And yeah, I mean, obviously taking with the e pawn does offer me a good pawn chain on the king side, but then bishop gets a safe square. So yeah, let me just see the viability of taking on h5 at this point. What wrong can happen if let's say he captures, and that was my follow-up. Okay, I didn't see knight knight e8. Is it? Is the threat so imminent? Okay, this is running for white from this point, but anyway, what does the computer say at this point? Queen e2. Okay, anyway, let's go for one more 10-0 for this session. I think this will be the last game of this session. e4. Let's play e5, keep things simple. So you have Roy Lopez in the opening. I am not really sure. Should I play a6 or knight f6 here? Let's play a6, keep things simple. I'm not sure whether this is the right move, but let's give it a shot. Okay, so I think there can be a trap in this line. I have seen a couple of traps where the bishop on a4 is captured. I don't recall the exact proper line of that trap, but that's a strange move. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting something on the lines of d4. Anyway, let me strike in the center with d5. d4 can still be on cards. I can capture the pawn with my queen because there's no knight on c3. Let's see how does black respond to e4 now. c4? Nope, c4 is not a good option here. Got it. And what about bishop g4? Because now I can castle on the queen side as well. So I guess he's weakening his diagonal, which I wanted, but okay, let me see. I think I can still play bishop h5 here safely, because if d4, I'll take the queen, and now I'm winning a piece here, I believe. Yeah, I'm winning a piece here on c2. Not exactly. I thought I won a piece. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of endless queen games. I mean, it's hard to play without the queens in the end game. Maybe I'm not a good end game player. Could be any of those two reasons. Let me just drop it to b6. Bishop e3 could still be played anyhow, but the pawn on e4 is extremely weak. Though I need to make sure that I don't fall for any back rank issues. At the moment there's nothing like that, but one has to be careful. And now let's just capture. But now I can go for the second rank, right? Let's see. Let me just take. I think knight takes is a better move here. Yeah, but I'm winning a pawn here, so let's just grab the pawn. And let's just exchange a pair of rooks. Okay, I don't really see the point of playing knight f5. Okay, knight h6, king g7, knight g4, knight takes g4, pawn takes g4, and the pawn on g4 is then weak. Yeah, let's just attack the weak pawn now. Rook c1, or maybe rook b3. Okay, let's just add some more attack, more resources to c3, but then he's just falling for this fork on g3. Yeah, Okay, let me just go to do the analysis board and check whether my opening was correct or not. I've been reading a couple of books on openings these days. I thought I won a pawn here. A full piece, my bad. I think, yeah, so at this point, what's the best move here? Okay, so I think this is already winning for black because I have 3 extra pawns, which is almost like a full piece, and the pawn on a2 is weak. I mean, the pawns are healthy. They are in 2 different islands, and okay, black also has 2 different pawn islands, but the pawn on a2 is weak right now. Anyway, that's about this for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then do subscribe to my channel, and see you in my next video on next Saturday, most probably. Till then, take care. Goodbye.